Hello everyone and welcome. I'm Nikki-Marianna Hope on Silver Tent Radio. I'm a Silver Grove member of the Silver Tent group for women of 50 plus. I bring together my life wisdom and listening skills from a place of unconditional love. This encapsulates my art, flower and vibrational essences, sound healing, and shamanic work. In the past, there have been times when I needed immediate help or someone to listen. So after an initial conversation, I offer my clients ongoing support, online or phone, day and night, as the need arises for as long as is required. My guest today is Resa Ferrier, who's based in the northeast of the USA. Resa has had a love affair with sound all her life. When she was really little, Resa climbed up onto the piano stool and started to play. And she learned to read music before starting school. Resa now works with people's resonance signature, using their unique core sound for healing. Today is the 6th in our series of chats about sound, in its many different forms. Hello, Resa.
Hello, Nikki-Marianna.
I think we're going to have fun today.
Me too.
Now then, just to remind me, I'm too excited about doing today's chat. I've forgotten what we were going to start with.
We're going to start with money, the sound of money.
The sound of money. Okay. So, everyone knows what money sounds like in your pocket. As you walk along. But have you ever thought how the paper, for want of a better word, notes sound? So this is the sound of a UK £20 note when you crinkle it. It's a little bit crisper than ordinary paper. This is ordinary paper. So the £20 note has a slightly crisper sound to it. Now recently we've had notes introduced that seem to have a lot of plastic in them. So this is the sound of a UK £5 note. So this is the £20 note again, and this is the £5. And in fact, the part that's mostly plastic, I can hardly get a sound out of. Oh yeah, that's a sound. So I'm sure we all recognize that sound from when you get money out of your purse, ready to pay for something. Just listen to the sound next time. Then we've got the money when you go to, if they still do it, an old-fashioned bank or a store somewhere, and they're counting out change. I don't know if you could hear that.
Yes.
I'll put it nearer the microphone. It's a very distinctive sound. And then as you put it in your purse, as you sort of hold it in your hand, ready to put back into your purse, that has a different sound too. And I'm sure each country with their different coins, they all make different sound. So now I've put out a few coins It's on a wooden bench with the idea of comparing the sounds, because you can make music from money. Okay, so let's have a go. And I think that's about all for the moment that I can do reasonably over the radio with old-fashioned coins.
Mm.
What we use now, mostly, is plastic. Credit cards, debit cards, and I'm sure they've got many different names. They don't make a lot of noise. But if I drop this near the microphone, so when we go to pay for something now, it's that goes in the machine, then it's bip, 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 enter, or whatever else you press in whatever country you're in. And then you've got the noise of the machine as it dispenses the money and the bip, 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 take your card now. So it's all sound and it's all music, and it depends how you want to relate to that sound as to how much you hear it and enjoy it, or dread the sound of it, thinking, oh, that's my last £5 note. Where am I going to get some more from? But just listening to the music it makes means that perhaps you enjoy having that last £5 note to spend, or the last 5p coin. Sorry, Resa, I got so enthused.
I thought that was great.
Making sounds.
Because it's true. Sometimes we take for granted the sounds that are consistent. So if we think about when you hand someone, think about when someone hands you the bills, the notes or the bills. So when you take those denominations, some people just crush it in their hand.
Oh, yes.
Okay? So they just take it and they crush it and they bring their hand down as if they're hiding it. So is that the sound of receiving? We could ask ourselves when we do that. Or some people take it and they hold it between their fingers and their thumb. They acknowledge it with a glance, right? They look at the person and they hold the dollar or the notes up a little as if to say, as a toast almost in Thanksgiving. And then they carefully take them and fold them, or they put them in the receptacle for the bills or notes. However, but there's a whole different ritual to that receiving, right? Yeah. And the ritual has sound, because the person may say, oh, there's all these breaths of sound that come. And so let's think of that sound now coding those particular denominations of money, right? So if we consciously are doing this, then we coat the money with a certain aura that we are now placing it in a space that's for safekeeping. So the money knows that we regard it as being safe. The person knows that we have a gratitude for what has just exchanged between us, and then we move on, and we're carrying this aura of sound that we've coated the money with. Instead, if we grab the money and shove it in our pocket, not only have we coated that money with a totally different aura of sound, but we have now put it close to a portion of our body. And in putting it close to that portion of our body, the resonance of that sound is now seeping through the weave of the fabric into our kidneys and our colon and our bladder area and our sexual reproduction organs. And so what have we done? What have we done? And this isn't a blame game. This is a realization of how resonance responds to us. Resonant, they say a lot of things. This is not bad or good. It's how you use it. Resonance is not bad or good. It's how you use it. Right? We've talked about different things like that. So sometimes people can't stand the sound of coins. I've met men who always have all this change in their pockets, and they hate it. They have a drawer full of change, because it makes holes in the pockets, all those things. So you hear them. Then you have the other people, men and women, who put so much change in their pockets and are constantly rolling it, making it cling and clack. And you see people in the room just cringe because of this. The sound just gets to them. No one says, will you stop doing that? Remember, the relationship of an individual to money is an intimate, private relationship. So we're all voyeurs, or that's the ongoing mystique about it. The truth is, if you said to somebody, you know what, could you not roll your coins right now because that sound is just piercing my head, they would be okay with it. They don't even realize they're doing it a lot of times. So, the dynamics that are based on what we accept as our norm also rule how we react and move with sound. So money plays, no matter what your relationship with money, it is a constant that moves between all of us. So if I give you the crumpled bill that I flatten out that has that aura of, ugh, you're going to now have that. The energy doesn't just dissipate because it's not in my hand anymore. So now you are given money that you receive, oh, thank you. So when you receive that, now that energy is moving into this. And maybe when you hold it, you do a silent moment that says, let this be as I see it. And it probably is unconscious to be able to do that because we sense energy. So we probably already feel, have you ever gotten any, I don't know if this happens in the UK, but people write on the dollar bills here sometimes.
Yes.
It's illegal, but they do it, And my sister always sends me dollars that say, the dollar that went round the world. And, or she'll say, this dollar travels with love. And I think to myself, when something like that is on that piece of money, the person receiving it, when they look down, that goes in. The vibration of those words becomes part of their relationship with that dollar.
Yes.
So there's all those pieces.
And I've received paper money with figures and things written on it and think, well, I wonder what that meant to the person who wrote it. So immediately you're becoming a voyeur and going into somebody else's territory. Hey, just receive it with love. There's no need to go further. Right.
So there's the key, I think, in all of it, is that love is the great balancer and equalizer. So when you do music and you record and everything, you have all these different things you use to show the balance of the sound. And so in our everyday life, no matter what the sound is, love is the equalizer. So when we do, that's such a great point, when we receive with love, it just, everything smooths because we're accepting. And those pieces, it's like whatever shadows are on that money can go take their place. Where do they truly belong? Not as a shadow, but in reality. And then we have the money itself that's being received with love, so it has a place.
That's beautiful. And if we all did that, suddenly money would become we gain an awareness of the energy exchange of money.
That's very true. That's very true. And I have to admit that this conversation is one that I'm going to replay again and again, because I have sometimes it's very hard for me to accept money, or to accept that kind of an abundant statement given to me without trying to push it back.
Yes.
And yeah, and have this little niggling doubt, what is expected in return? Aha. Oh yeah,
that's an interesting one, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's like da 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 da. You know, under you got this beautiful tone on top, and then da 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 da, waiting, and so I try to ask if I really feel that something's expected in return. I try to ask before I accept the money.
Right.
So that is because it's not bad if someone has an expectation. It's only covert if we don't both know what it is or acknowledge it.
Yes.
So so that's the place there. But I love the whole thing about love, you know. So you can even say it, I accept this with love and gratitude. You know, it's why not?
Why not indeed?
I always like the thank you in Japanese because it's long. No, it's in Japanese. The thank you is the short, but the you're welcome is this long phrase, and I always was fascinated by that because we say you're welcome as a throwaway in the U.S. You know, you're welcome. And thank you seems to be what holds this huge thing. But the truth is that the you're welcome is really, it has been my pleasure to be of service in this moment.
Yes. And we can put all that meaning into that word by not making it a throwaway. So
right.
You're welcome. It's you're welcome.
Right. And that's where sound changes the parameters of one word or a phrase.
Yes. And it has such a deep effect on the single word that you're saying, on the sound of the word, but also the energy that you're putting into that word, and also to the person who's hearing it. And maybe more than one person will hear it.
Yes.
If you're in a room, you might be talking to one particular person, but there will be others around you.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And all of those. So if we look at that whole relationship with money, and we now put in that resonance coats the money, it changes the vibration of the money with what we put onto it. We have the ability to clear it by simply acknowledging with love the money itself and its movement as an exchange. And then as we receive, we can spread that love through how we state the receipt. So when we've given and we say, the person says, thank you, and we say, you are welcome, then we have now said to the world that this was such a pleasure to be in this arrangement. Yes. The person, by saying, thank you, is telling the world that this was a pleasure on their end. So that exchange that is money, that energetically exchanged between us, now has become a celebration. Not a duty, not a task, but a celebration.
Yes.
So it changes. And here's an interesting thing. I've used a debit card and credit cards forever, right? And I can't use credit cards ever. Plastic doesn't mean anything to me. And I know that I'm an anomaly, but that's how it is. So my husband and I made an agreement. We take out cash now. And we work on a cash basis. Even when we're paying bills, we're going to pay online. Sometimes we actually take that money out and then put it back in. So we pay the bill. Because it actually then seems real that you've paid something. So I realize that when I have dollars and change in my purse, I take care of it.
Yes.
It's given into my keeping. I feel like the guardian of the money or whatever. And I don't just throw it away. But you give me a plastic card that goes zip, zip in this little machine, and it's like nothing. It's like, going to the amusement park. This is your pass to get in. It's already paid for. So the perception. Yeah, that's my perception.
That is so interesting, because I too have to be very careful with plastic. I keep all my receipts and I add them up and I check my bank statement, my credit card statement, because it doesn't feel like money to me.
Right.
Whereas I set myself X amount that I can take out in cash each month, and I make that last the month.
Right.
Because I can see what's in my purse. So I'm not going to spend more than is in my purse.
Right.
Or if I really, really have to, then I have to go back to the bank, and I'm very aware of what I'm doing.
Yes. And we traditionally, simple things here in parts of the US, if you buy gas for the car, if you pay cash, it's less expensive than if you pay by debit or credit card, because everybody has to pay those fees for debit and credit cards, so they just pass them on to the consumer. So the other day, we always pay cash. Okay, so the other day I went to the bank, I got the money, and then I went and I realized that you can actually do everything right from the pump. And I thought, well, isn't this great? I'm not thinking, because when you do it from the pump, you have to use your debit card.
Yes.
So I then used the debit card and I went, oh, crap. And I was telling my husband what I did, and he started to laugh. He goes, that's happened to me. It's like they catch you. They've got, the lights go on. It tells you to push this button, and you just kind of flow with it. And all of a sudden you realize what you did. And I said, but what I don't understand is why I didn't stop pumping the gas and go in and pay for the next part of the gas.
Oh.
Because I was paying 6 cents more a gallon than if I had paid cash.
Wow, that's quite a bit.
Yes. But it was like I couldn't get everything straight in my head in time. Afterwards, I thought of it. But in that moment, it was like a drug-induced stupor of debit card dumb.
I like that. I like that expression, debit card dumb. Yes, it does. You don't think. It just happens.
And I do have to say, when I watch my children, they have a very different idea of it, because I think there are two things that happen. One is I think most of my children have online bank accounts. So it's not even the same. Everything's in the moment. So they can see immediately what they've debited and what they've paid, and that's, they have always done that or something similar. They didn't grow up with a checkbook.
No.
So it's, it's a very different playing field for them. But both of my sons and my daughter usually carry cash, which is always very interesting to me. They usually carry cash. And whereas a lot of people around their age I see, they always use their phones or a card, but they go back and forth between the phone, paying by, they have Apple phones, and then and cash.
Yes. And it's a very different relationship with money.
Right, right.
Very different. And when I've managed to work that out, maybe we can talk about it again, but it may be some time.
Yes, sometime. That was good, though. That was a good talk about money.
Okay, well, actually, I think we may have taken up our 15 minutes talking about money, and we were going to talk about snow as well and the sounds of snow. So perhaps that's for our next session. So just as a reminder, this is the sound of a UK £20 note. This is the sound of a UK modern £5 note.
Very different.
And these are sounds of UK coins. Thank you very much, Resa. It's been great fun. I think we've both learned a lot. So I hope the people who listen to this will also enjoy it.
Yes, we'd love to hear about their relationship with subject money.
Absolutely. And I look forward to talking to you next time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye for now.
Bye.